Brand stretching, when companies take their products too far.
What images come to mind when you think of Harley Davidsons? Leather boots? Bearded bikers? American highways? What about a cake decorating mixture? You obviously haven't heard of the Harley Davidson cake decorating mix. A fine example of brand stretching, gone too far. Many companies do what is known as brand extension. This is the use of a successful brand name to launch a new product in the same market. For example, Fairy was extended from a washing up liquid brand to become a washing powder brand too. It made sense. Similarly, the Lucozade brand went from children's health drink to an energy drink and sports drink. That made sense too. When done successfully, brand extension can have several advantages. There's less risk with a new product if it carries a familiar brand name. On top of that, customers will associate the quality of the established brand with the new product. Customers will also feel more comfortable about the product and be more willing to sample it. Finally, promotional launch costs, particularly advertising, are likely to be lower. Other companies try something a bit more radical: brand stretching. This involves the use of an established brand name for products in unrelated markets. Sometimes it works. For example, Japanese motorcycle manufacturer Yamaha started making hi-fi equipment, pianos, and sports equipment, and they were very successful. Tobacco companies are experts at brand stretching. Many of them started putting their brand names on non-tobacco merchandise or services after the introduction of tobacco advertising bans. For example, the manufacturers of Camel cigarettes started using their name for lifestyle products, such as clothing, shoes, and watches. And Marlboro has produced the Marlboro Classics range of clothing. It's now the second largest mail-order brand in the USA, and there are more than 1,000 Marlboro Classics shops throughout Europe and Asia. But brand stretching doesn't always work. Something just doesn't seem right. The Harley-Davidson cake decorating kit is a fine example of that. But there are plenty more. Bic pens brought out the Bic pantyhose. Restaurant chain Hooters started an airline. And Diesel Jeans produced a wide range of wines known as Diesel Jeans wines. But one of the weirdest has to be the Cheetos lip balm. Can you imagine what that would taste like?
Listening and repeat.
Come to mind. Come to mind. Come to mind.
To come to mind, to think of.
Bearded. Bearded. Bearded.
Bearded, with a beard, hair on the lower part of the face.
Bikers. Bikers. Bikers.
A biker, a person who rides a motorbike.
Highways. Highways? Highways?
A highway, a big road with many lanes, lines of traffic. A motorway in British English.
Brand stretching. Brand stretching. Brand stretching.
Brand stretching. Using the name of a famous product for a new product in a different market.
Brand name. Brand name. Brand name.
A brand name. The name of a famous product.
Washing up liquid. Washing up liquid. Washing up liquid.
Washing up liquid. A substance used to wash dirty plates, knives, cups, etc.
Washing powder. Washing powder. Washing powder.
Washing powder. A powder, many small particles of a substance, used to clean clothes, often in a washing machine.
Risk. Risk. Risk.
Risk. Danger.
Sample. Sample. Sample.
To sample. To try a small amount of a product to see if you like it.
Launch costs. Launch costs. Launch costs.
Launch costs. The money needed to promote, market and advertise a new product.
Bands. Bands. Bands.
A ban. A prohibition. Something you cannot do.
Mail order brand. Mail order brand. Mail order brand.
A mail order brand. A company that sells goods through a catalog, the internet. There are no physical shops.
Pantyhose. Pantyhose. Pantyhose.
Pantyhose. An item of thin clothing that covers the legs and goes up to the stomach, tights, in British English. Usually worn by women.
Weirdest. Weirdest. Weirdest.
Weird. Strange, unusual. Gaffes galore. When people get it wrong. Big style.
What's the biggest written mistake you've ever made? It surely can't be as bad as any of these. There were red faces in Chile just recently after thousands of coins were issued with the name of the country spelt wrongly. The 50 peso coins, worth about 10 cents, were issued in 2008, and instead of Chile, the coins had Chi written on them. But it's not all bad news. The coins have since become collector's items, and the mint says it has no plans to take them out of circulation. Just recently, a publishing company in Australia had to reprint 7,000 copies of Pasta Mash, a cookbook with more than 100 pasta basic recipes. Why? Well, one recipe listed salt and freshly ground people instead of pepper. The publisher said almost every one of the recipes in the book listed salt and freshly ground pepper, but a misprint occurred on just one page. When it comes to the proofreader, of course they should have picked it up. But proofreading a cookbook is an extremely difficult task, a spokesperson said. Text errors are actually quite common in the world of publishing. The Guardian newspaper is famous for them, and is commonly referred to as the Graniad, a misspelt version of their name. And there are many examples of errors in all the major publications. For example, a recent ad in Woman's World magazine read, "We are currently looking for proofreaders with editing experience, with the word editing spelt with 2 T's. The ad also referred to the magazine incorrectly as Women's World instead of Woman's World. In 1988, the University of Wisconsin awarded thousands of diplomas with the name of the state spelt incorrectly. Wisconsin with an O instead of an I. 6 months passed before anyone noticed the blunder. An official defended the university by saying the certificates had been proofread, but only to check the names on them, not the general text. But proofreading errors are nothing new. In the 1632 edition of the King James Bible, the omission of the word not gave a whole new meaning to the 7th commandment, appearing as "thou shalt commit adultery" instead of "thou shalt not commit adultery." What about the books, magazines and newspapers you read? Have you found any errors recently?
Listening and repeat.
Red faces. Red faces. Red faces.
Red faces. If there are red faces, people are embarrassed because of a mistake.
Issued. Issued. Issued.
To issue, to produce.
Mince. Mince. Mince.
A mint. The place where the official coins of a country are made.
Take them out of circulation. Take them out of circulation. Take them out of circulation.
Take out of circulation. If something is taken out of circulation, it is removed from shops or general use and people can no longer use it.
Ground. Ground. Ground.
Ground. If food is ground, it is crushed, pressed, until there are very small pieces of it.
Proofreader. Proofreader. Proofreader.
A proofreader. A person whose job is to check text and find errors.
Picked it up. Picked it up. picked it up.
To pick up, to find.
Blunder. Blunder. Blunder.
A blunder, a mistake.
Thou shalt. Thou shalt. Thou shalt.
Thou shalt, you must.
Commit adultery. Commit adultery. Commit adultery.
To commit adultery, to have a relationship with someone who is not your husband, wife, partner, etc.